Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Woo. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blending smooth like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Woo. Living loud, thinking proud, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
What is going on, everybody? We're back at another live, another stream. You know where you're at. You're at Spartan NCU Network. I'm your host, the Spartan, aka Peter. How is everybody doing tonight? It's a nice day for a nice stream. So, this is going to be an interesting conversation, but I'm not driving the ship for once. I'm going to bring the guy who's driving the ship in first. Before we do open the show, I have some update news I want to share with everybody. Some exciting news, actually. For some gaming stuff I'm excited to talk about before we get into the show. But let me get the host of the show tonight is of course, our own president. Mr. President, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good, actually. I'm starting to get my rest back. I'm starting to feel better. So I'm getting there. So let's get the next guy in here. He's from the other side of the world, our buddy from the UK.
Ow.
He likes doing that to himself.
Looks that way to me.
I'm sorry?
Said looks that way to me. I don't know.
Oh, come on, honey.
Whoa!
I don't get it.
He's calling you honey now.
I don't get
Hey,
it.
Mariano, what is going on?
Devil. Paul's still a handsome devil.
Appreciate it.
So, all right.
Appreciate it.
Let me get some news out of the way first. Let's get that out of the way because I'm a little excited to talk about this. So this week was Play of State for PlayStation. That for you, Paul, who don't know that is every 3 to 6 months they do a Play State. Pretty much they announce the new gaming, new updates, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they announced this year. God of War is one of my favorite games. You know this, obviously. Look at my name, the Spartan. So they are actually remaking their original 3 games. I'm excited for that because the first 3 games were extremely good. That launched a whole IP on that. So that's where the whole saying the Ghost of Sparta came from. I'm very excited to talk about that. I can't talk about it too much because there's not a lot of information about it. Only information I do have on it so far, the original voice actor who played Kratos from the original trilogy, he's back doing the voice. So I'm actually looking excited. I'm just hoping they do justice to it, because anytime you do a remake or a classic, you always have the fear you may screw her up. See, I watched my mouth, Paul. You gotta give me credit. I almost dropped the F bomb, but I was good. Give me credit. You gotta give me credit.
I give you credit.
All right.
Naughty boy, old man.
Shut up down there. Yeah. So they announced some other games too, but that's the game I'm very excited for. Let me see if I have the list here.
Hello, the chat.
What's up?
Someone's saying hello to me in the chat, so I'm saying
Oh,
hi.
okay. So here we go. Where are they? Here. So God of War is one of them. They're announced, like I said. They also drop another game, another God of War, Sons of Sparta. That's a prequel, way back from any other games. So that's another game they're talking about coming out. They actually also are remastering, and you're gonna like this, Greg. You know, remember Metal Gear Solid 2?
Oh,
They're remastering that one.
oh, that would be bloody awesome.
I think so too.
I liked all the gear. I've only played 3 of them, though. I've only played 3 of them on the Xbox 360. Yeah, remastering them. That would be awesome. I've not played the newer ones though.
The new ones are decent. They're not the third one was the last good one in it, and that's it. My mouse is going weird. There are a bunch of good games they're talking about coming out, and it's going to be a good year on gaming. Ghost of Yukama, it has a DLC coming out. That's another one. Dead Stranding 2, another good game. I never played it. I heard really good things about it. Here, you're right. Right there. Control has a new game coming up too. It's a lot of good games PlayStation's working on this year, and that goes back to the old debate. The other one is I'm looking forward to Resident Evil Request. It's a continuation of the original trilogy coming into it. Resident Evil have so many different games, and they have split into two different worlds lately. Good. I'm sorry.
Does look good.
Yeah. Let me see what else they have here really fast. Dead of Live looks good. Control, like Eric said. Nah, that looks decent. I think that's the type ones. Oh, this is the other one I was looking forward to. This one you might like, Paul. These two next games, right? And Star Wars Galaxy Racers. Do you remember the pod racers back in the first movie?
Yes.
They made a game back in the 64. You know, you travel to different planets, but you pod race. That's pretty much the gist of this. That's actually really good. And the last game I thought it looks really good. I saw the trailers for it. Is 007 First Light. They are starting James Bond's story before he's a 007, and you work up the ranks to 007.
That seems quite.
That looks pretty good. That sounds pretty good. Even for you, I know you're not a gamer, but you got to be correct. Even that sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
And the last one, John Wick is getting his own game this year.
Awesome. Good movie.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Was there 3 or 4 movies? Because I remember watching 3 of them.
I believe it's 4, if not mistaken.
Yeah, I've not seen the 4th one, so I remember watching 3.
The last one, I was spoiling anything, it ends the whole saga. It comes in circle. And they also have one offspring called Ballerina. Can't pronounce that word. It's actually really. I thought it was good. I liked it personally. But Paul, take the ship. You have control.
Okay. Well, again, want to welcome everyone to another edition of the Hangout tonight. Good to be with you guys. Want to have more, I guess, certainly more philosophical conversation tonight. Certainly around the use of AI, particularly in entertainment. we're certainly if you're on social media, certainly my threads have been certainly flooded with very creative. I must say, this technology is terrifying in both a good and bad way, in my view. When I
Mm-hmm.
take a look at it, that you're able to go back in time, it look at history of things, and the one I saw recently where they took like the presidents, like going all the way back to George Washington and making like what would they look like in today's time. So again, they
Oh
kind of
wow.
modernized them a little bit, gave them a modern haircut or what have you, and have them go, or the ones you'll see where you'll take a young an actor when they were young, and and he'll be sitting on a bench, and then the I guess the current version of that actor will come and sit right next to them and whatnot. I mean, it's very touching. I mean, I
They've done that
certainly,
with wrestlers too.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
The
So
wrestlers
a
that
lot
have
of different
passed and
areas
stuff.
that's been done, correct. And so it's definitely nostalgic, and I mean there's certainly something that's incredible about it, but again there are risks that may come from this new technology. Now we've all been, I mean all of us here, we've talked, had shows on CGI and special effects and how that's
Mm-hmm.
changed over the years, and we complain a lot of times of how sometimes movies and projects rely too much on special effects instead of real practical effects, real explosions, real stunts, and things of that nature. And you see certainly why a lot of studios and producers are moving away from a lot of the real stuff because it's expensive, because the risks that go from it. But as a watcher, as a viewer, sometimes you can call it out right away and say, okay, well, that had to be like a special effect or whatever. And if you're certainly working the industry, you can definitely tell when certain things have been CGI'd up, or if they've been, like a real special effect. And probably the biggest in recent memory, like the biggest, like what really kind of woke me up is like, wow, this is definitely going to be the future. Certainly one of my favorite Star Wars movies is Rogue One. In fact, Rogue One is arguably number 2 on my list. It used to be Empire, number 2 on my list. Nothing will replace the original Star Wars. But
Mm-hmm.
Rogue One is like right there. The more I watch Rogue One, the more it replaced Empire Strikes Back on my ranking of Star Wars films. And they did some things there. They brought back General Grand Moff Tarkin. And I watched a video in terms of how they did it. They brought, they did a lot of AI stuff to kind of bring that to life. It wasn't perfect. You can tell it's not the original Peter Tarkin character, but that was 10 years ago now, 11 years ago. And just where this technology is going, I'm certainly seeing a lot, more like where's this going to push the boundaries of that. And speaking of Star Wars, where I've really seen this application as of late, go to any YouTube channel. They are creating these Star Wars stories that are based on kind of filling the gaps between the movies or even afterwards. So they'll have like full 6-minute spots with Luke Skywalker and AI talking to Anakin in AI. I just watched one earlier today. Or they'll, they brought these stories out and, really are giving a new space, because we were talking about what the future of Star Wars is. And it seems like these AI shorts that are being created are doing a pretty decent job of filling the gap between the movies,
Between the episodes, you mean?
between the episodes,
Okay.
and giving you content that's still very much connected to those movies, so it feels like Star Wars and it doesn't feel like what we got, the 7, 8, and 9. I'll just call them the sequels, but we've had shows on that, so I'm not digging up that pick of those scabs up either. But
You don't want to go there tonight.
no, I'm not trying to go there. But again, the fact that you have these AI shorts that are, if you were a disgruntled Star Wars fan, they are starting to fill in and give you a way to enjoy Star Wars that you never were able to experience it before. Again, it's not clean, it's not perfect. A lot of these folks are amateur animators. But
Well,
if
if you don't mind,
studios decide to want to put millions and millions of dollars into really tweaking and fine tuning this, then we have another discussion. in terms of what does this leave digital animators, storytellers, and writers and directors and whatnot. So again, those are things that, because these scripts, they have dialogue. I mean, real life dialogue to them. Hello, real life dialogue to them. And so, these are things that we have to be mindful of. So just going around the room, and certainly in the chat, you can entertain as well. First block. What is your view generally when it comes to entertainment? I mean, there's deeper AI issues that we can cover in other shows, have a deeper conversation on what this means in terms of gray area type of topic, or even spiritual, religious type of topics now. Because one thing, when we had the show on science and religion, I didn't get a chance to get into that with Father Casadino, but I might want to go into that maybe in a future show if we ever get a chance to invite him back and talk about AI and what does this mean for the church in terms of filling needs for people, and and not having to even go to church. They can just kind of get what they want through AI and have a virtual service, and that's it. I mean, is that where that's going? But that's another conversation for another day. We're not going there.
That's definitely a gray area conversation.
Definitely.
What I was going to ask you, if you
don't
mind.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I have a video I like to show.
Sure.
I have to be muted because of copyright strikes. But I can play as AI completely, and I think it's going to help drive the conversation a little bit.
Sure.
You're cool with that. But again, I have to keep you muted. So I apologize for everybody. I
No
cannot
problem.
play sound. So you go ahead. As I'm pulling this up, go ahead. You can start talking.
Yeah. So Craig, if you want to give your insights on, well, I think you had shown some of this.
I was on my Facebook, actually. You might call it on my Facebook.
Yeah.
AI has come so far in life. It really has. Literally.
I mean, this when you first showed the I think the one you shown from the Silverhawks, and honestly, I got a little emotional when I saw it. It was there was so much from it in terms of, you have these relics and you have the spider webs and things like that, that these were lively, vibrant characters from an animation, and you see them in that state as if they're just like discarded, so it's almost like these vintage characters and properties, and you just see them just as in the state. So it was kind of affected me in a different way, that and will there be generations who can appreciate these appreciate these characters and these shows and whatnot? Will you ever have a chance to kind of go through that when you saw them? But the Silverhawks was really good, because I know they're kind of partly robotic, so it's almost like, again, they were kind of like discarded. I don't know if you get the same effect with human beings, but it certainly hit me in a certain way. But
there are a lot of these coming out right now of this AI videos. This is the X-Men, obviously, and the next one I'm going to show you is this Silverhawk, like you were saying. Here it is.
I've seen a lot of this on YouTube,
and it got to me. I'll be honest with you, because this was a big franchise at one point. It was one of the huge franchise.
Yeah.
He-Man was another one. I saw another Thundercat. I saw a bunch of these.
Right.
And they're discarded like they were garbage.
Right. But this one more so for me, because they're partly robotic.
I do have a quick
So
question.
it's almost like they've been like deactivated. It's different from like finding a corpse per se, but it's like it's almost like there was not a need for them anymore, and they just kind of were turned off more so than they just died a natural death or whatever. It's almost like they were kind of frozen in time and forgotten about.
That's why I showed the first one with Gundam, because they're technically robotics. They're mobile suits.
Yeah. It's like I said, the spider webs, that really bothered me. I mean, it was a little disturbing when I saw it. But the fact that AI can create these experiences, like I said, I was affected, emotionally just from seeing that. And AI is creating this space. So like I said, it's fantastic. Like I said, in a good way, but also in a frightening way, in terms of, one, they're keeping a lot of these versions alive. And then I'm sure you've also seen the AIs where they'll take the animated character and turn them into like life-like beings.
Yes, I've seen those too. Those
are pretty. Now again, some of the women, I saw one, Eric. They had one for the what was that? They
did one for Pokemon.
What was the one that I'm referring to? The one where you had the family, the Herculoids. I think it might have been the Herculoids.
They had the Herculoids. They have
Herculoids.
everything ones.
But I mean, they made the woman when they made the woman flesh like I'm sure a lot of guys jaw dropped because she had a body like that was just incredible.
They
Even
had
better
one
than the
with
comic book. Whatever.
Thundercats. You know, when she showed Chitara, I'm like, whoa,
Oh yeah,
Chitara.
yeah, big hips, big booty. I mean, but guys used to say that back then. But again, it's one thing to see it in a cartoon or animation. It's another thing. Like if you saw that body in real life, I mean, she's definitely going to turn heads there. So a lot of the animators are definitely adding a lot of sex appeal to these visual AI, humanistic or more real life kind of creations. And again, it's not quite perfected yet. But I'm thinking, if this is what has taken place in the last 5 or 10 years, where is this going to go? And then when is that line going to be blurred between what is real and what is not? And can you actually put these projects together? So Pia, I just want to kind of get from you, just general perspective, your thoughts on the use of AI in entertainment in these particular places that we talked about. So again, we see AI in throwback, where I think it helps to bridge the gap between us who might have grew up on these things versus the new generation. But like I said, the way they did it affects you in a certain way. Is this good? Do you appreciate these? Cause like I said, it's frightening to me, but I can't stop watching them. So your thoughts on that, and then we'll get Craig's perspective.
I'm in the middle of this. I'm like a little in the middle. I respect it, and it's scaring the crap out of me at the same time because I don't need a judgment day coming in real life either on us.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I also understand these actors. That's why it was a whole thing. If you remember, was it last year or a year before with the Actors Guild, the strike for them?
Yeah.
Because these guys don't know how they're going to get paid because they can replace them like that with an AI voice. They did it with Fast and the Furious with Paul Walker.
Paul Walker, yeah.
Yeah, his brother had to step in just to fit the position, the body in there. But the whole thing was AI.
Right.
Star Wars and AI. There's a bunch of them. Like you see, like Terminator, a great example. I can't remember which one it was, but with Arnold coming out, that was completely CGI.
Salvation.
I'm sorry. Salvation. Thank you. So that
was like the first iteration of it. But what the really one you had to do was, I guess the one where there was like 3 Terminators in it. You had the old Arnold, you had the current Arnold, and then you had the one that just came down.
Oh, Genesis.
Genesis, right.
That was only 2 Terminators. You were on about it was a new one, Dark Fate, that had 3 Terminators in it.
Right. But I'm just saying, but you saw the enhancement between the Terminator that we saw in oh gee, I just remember the first one you mentioned, Salvation, the one that you saw in Salvation, and you barely saw like a couple seconds of it.
Yeah.
The one that you saw in Genesis when he comes out and naked and he says nice for a walk or whatnot, you saw like they wanted you to see like the detail, and especially when you're in the movie theater, it really made a difference. In the movie theater, you saw it, and it looked like wow, like just the evolution in the CGI at the time, that they put a lot more work into it. Whereas with Salvation, it was like flashback here and there. They had the one Returns of Space or whatnot, but it wasn't like not quite ready for prime time. They did the best of what they could, but now you see again this sort of slope where they're able to put more detail, more. The hair was blowing in the wind.
When I saw them using AI was when I first saw it was in Captain America, where they literally, the guy who plays Captain America, they actually made him so smaller, and they put CGI, put his face on the small, small body.
Yeah.
But the actor's name is Chris Evans, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Evans is tall. I think he's your height. I'm not mistaken, Paul.
He's tall, 6'1", 6'2". No question.
So with AI, we don't know. Is a lot of question marks. We don't know illegally and non-illegally. Like, how far can we push this illegally? Because now you can use AI to replace an actor. That's their livelihood. That's people's bread and butter. I'm sorry.
I did my graph as AI. I did a friend of mine who deals with AI pictures and stuff like that. I sent him a photo of Nikki, and he did an AI version of her.
I'll give you a great example. I couldn't go to to the event, but at my job they were doing a AI presentation. They had this literally like a size of my dog, Apollo. It was a mature robot, and you tell him sit, come. He acts just like a live animal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not like, oh, listen, I'm not replacing my dog. My dog is my dog. And
Right.
If you know what I'm saying, and I think you feel the same way, Paul, about that.
Well, I'll tell you. Well, again, now you're getting into a total. Maybe this might be another show, but now you talk
Yeah,
about robotics.
Yeah,
with the AI. So I think with the I've seen some of these lifelike robots where the AI in there, like you're having a conversation with it. There's like this woman, or it has the face of a woman, and they're kind of responding, and I'm just saying where this stuff is going with the AI, it may get to a point where relationships can be formed with these AI versions. Or imagine, Pete, let's just say if like the human stuff, that's hard, right? I mean, there's so much subtlety there. What if they came out with a robotic dog that basically could mimic one of your previous dog, or my dog for that matter? And the thing about it is, I mean, our dogs have a shelf life, right? They have a 10, 12, 15 years tops. And in your case, certainly unexpected things may happen. But again, Matt, you can have this dog for 20, 30, 40 years, the rest of your life. You have this dog. How many people would go for that? Now, I think that's something that can get scary in recent years. I saw you got these robots now that can jump rope, like a girl with the jump rope.
I'm not gonna lie, you Paul. You're hitting home right now for me very hard with hearing this, because you know how upset I was when Alex passed on me,
right?
And hearing this, what if he would survive somehow, and he was being in an AI form.
Right. Yeah. Imagine. So now we're getting really funky. Imagine if you could put the heart of Alex. Like, let's say if you could take some video, because I'm sure you've recorded Alex over the years,
of course,
and some AI can look at that video, and then the AI could then mimic how Alex acts, especially when you interact with him, and they can program that into the robotic version of the dog. His reactions when you say sit, when when he pet, he is like, if they can program that into your dog, so you're going to get the feeling of having Alex there. But again, the only thing that'll hurt Alex, a part may break, and you may have to replace the part, or the battery runs down, or whatever what you got to fix. Something could be replaced. But I just wonder how many dog owners, if this becomes available, say in 10 years, and they can literally, Boston Dynamics, a lot of, just look at their stuff that's coming out. Imagine in 10 years you can have truly a bionic dog, right? A robotic dog that, based on input that you provide from your recordings and your life with, and your Facebook posts, and seeing how he responds to you, and the dog tail wagging and all that kind of stuff. And now you have an opportunity to have your dog back. And you can probably even train it to more the way you want it. So there's a learning aspect to it as well, just like what we're seeing with a lot of AI. So that becomes a conversation that I think a lot of people, they may say, hey, and if I can have that experience for, I don't know, $1,000, I don't, or even maybe a couple $1,000, but it's your dog. That's a scary use of the.
I do understand where you're going with this, and maybe I'm talking about it because I'm such a dog lover, and how it's still pretty fresh with Alexander. Let's be honest here.
Yeah,
and I don't think that would ever replace the real thing. Because Alexander had his own personality. You telling me AI is a system, not only. ChatGPT, this new update now, you can literally have a full conversation like I'm having with you. Not typing, conversation. Right. So with that, can I have look at Alex, go sit, like, even him, he's doing his dumb shit. Like, he used to pull the blankets off the bed when he wanted to go out early on a Saturday morning. He knew I want to sleep in, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Would he do the same thing? I don't think so. It'll be
Well,
programmed.
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. With AI, you can program that. Like if you put into to this interface, so you can feed it video, it can study and analyze the video of your dog's behaviors. And you can even say there might be you can feed into it's okay. These are the things that Alex likes to do. He liked to pull the sheet off the bed. He liked to go outside. If I give him his toy, he would do this. He would do that. Again, you can program all of that into the dog or the pet, whatever, or whatever the animal is, and it will mimic those actions. I mean, again, I think this is where this stuff is going, because again, to go through what I saw you go through with the loss of pet, and you can say, you know what, this dog will be with you as long as you're alive. I think some people may go for that in the near future, because that's where this is going. But watch some of that animatronic stuff there. So this is beyond robotics. So robotics is a part because they got to get the movements down, but behavior and responses, that's an AI function. And so we're going to have to, that's a piece where I think the AI is really going to have an impact. And then if that stuff starts affecting you emotionally, like I said, watching those videos that you showed, there was an emotional attachment where you can go back and see people, especially people who have passed on. And you see, and especially the ones, when the actors died, they put angels' wings on the back, for deceased. And it's just nostalgic when you see somebody from the 70s, and then 50, 60 years later, you see them in a certain state. It like I said, there's a niche there. Yeah. Now the only thing I disagree with you on is you talk about, and we'll talk about this later, the impact on writers and animators and these kind of people. Nobody was thinking that this was even possible a few years ago.
Totally agree.
And so I said the content that's being created, if I go back to the Star Wars example, right? All of these stories that are being written, they're not doing anything outside of the Star Wars universe as we know it. The canonized episodes 1 through 6, they're basically building content off of the middle, what the gaps between the movies. Or if they do go outside of that, they're still staying within a space. Like I said, the one I saw today, Luke Skywalker saw Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost. And this is where Luke was thinking about possibly trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. And he was taking some wisdom from Anakin, and Anakin was basically saying, if you're going to do this, don't make the same mistakes that I did. Build into the Order what should have been there. The Order never should have disallowed relationships, because the ability to love and have family and life, that should be a normative part. The fact that Jedis were turned into this sort of monk type order where you couldn't have attachments, he said that was wrong, because it was because of that lack of attachment. When Padme died or whatever, then he lost it. But what if he could have lived in a world where Padme could have been with him, and they could have had children, and the Jedi Order could have had, again, a natural function? So he's saying, like Luke was saying, like, when I rebuild this order, I'm not going to have that limitation. I'm not going to say you can't get married or have a family and children. But this was like part of the exchange that they were having. So again, these stories that are being spun, nobody was telling these stories, except for maybe that guy, A Star Wars Theory. He might have, he would have like these what if scenarios, and he would kind of tell those stories, and he would use that awful voice of his. I don't know if you ever heard Star Wars Theory.
Yeah,
when he's talking like a Sith Lord or something.
Stuff.
When he's talking like a Sith Lord, he kind of just makes up these voices, like, dude, you don't have it. But again, a lot of these voices in these AIs, they're using the voice patterns of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader and Anakin and all these people. So in your mind, even though you can tell, right, the lip sync isn't quite always right, the flesh tones isn't quite right, because it still looks a little plastic, but it's enough to where you are brought in emotionally. And if they ever get to that 10% difference, which is really where it is, right? It's almost like the AI cars. It's like the Teslas, right? Teslas are 90% safe in auto drive mode, or low 90s. if they're able to solve that 7%, you're gonna see AI trucks on the road. You're gonna see that in the next 10 years or so. They just got to get that little.
They're already releasing cyber cabs in California.
Yeah,
they've already done.
So I'm saying, so they're like 90%. I think AI in entertainment at this point, at least from what I've seen, I'd say it might be about 75% right now.
It depends on who's working on the AI. I've seen some of them closer to like 95%. Some of them, like the high producing companies.
Right.
But you're right. It's like you don't know what you're watching. Sometimes you watch this AI thing, like, wow, this looks really fucking real. And like you keep watching, like, wow, this is really real. And like then you realize, oh, they said something about AI produced. I'm like, oh, they got me. So it just treading a very dangerous water, I think, a little bit too. Some of them are really good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy watching some of them. You know, some are really emotional. Like after Alex passed, somebody sent me a video of they put his picture, him saying goodbye and walking up the rainbow. And like, man, they got him really close, the AI. So it just, I don't know, man. I don't think we're treading right waters right now. If we don't have restrictions on these somehow, how far can we take this? The question is now.
Yeah. All right, Craig, your thoughts on
well, AI I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good and it's pretty bad. But I've been watching some stuff on Knight Rider on AI. Yeah, where they've introduced like Back to the Future car into it, right? And David Hasselhoff and Kit travel to the year 2024. Have you seen that one at all? It's pretty brilliant. The AI is pretty good. The sounding is pretty good. It is off a bit, but it is actually pretty awesome how they're doing the pictures, the voices, that sort of thing. It's pretty awesome. But I don't think they should be pushing it too much.
And Paul, I'll be honest with you, bro. Like a lot of our thumbnails I get or our backgrounds are AI produced from ChatGPT. Because I just plug in what I want. Well,
yeah. I mean, we've seen, what BMU's been doing with, just a lot of our banners and stuff. He's using AI to create these banners. And again, this was stuff that I'm just thinking, okay, so let's go into like specific, areas impacted, right? Let's look at artists. Like back in the day, artists, right? You spent your whole life on canvas, on paper, sketching, etching, fleshing out your craft. And now you have where these guys can come out with these digital creations and they can be lifelike, they can be exaggerated, they can be, you see what he does with our stuff, right? Some of the pictures is like this, that don't even look like me, but it's
you saw what I did a few months back when I put all a group of us and you got hair and you were like, oh, it's blasphemy, remember?
Yeah. So again, but it's growing to such an extent that but the artist, who in some of these artists, they were like gifted, like some of the stuff you can't even teach, right? You got these idiot savants out there that just are, but they can paint a mural, they can barely speak, or they have an IQ of 20, but they have a but that's pretty. But again, imagine if we paid somebody to do this kind of work back in the day. It would have been hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that you would have to pay in order for these. Look at the flesh tones there on David. Look at the skin.
Pete,
that's the funny part.
It's exaggerated. But there's something about it that is so lifelike, even though the proportions, his head is like ridiculously large. But I'm just saying, but it's still visually like it's looking at you. And if you started to put the movement, the talking, the eyes, the facial expressions, you start to put that into such an extent where he could be there. And again, before CGI used to do this, right? CGI would take you see like behind the scenes of these movies, and they put this mask on the guy and they put all the dots on the guy's face to capture the motion capture, right? They would use the lights and the dots to motion capture the face, and then they would superimpose that on the character that was in the movie. I know, like the Hulk movie that came out in 2008. They did a lot of that in terms of the so you can get the figure to express. See, that looks nothing like me. At least I don't think that looks anything. But there's something there. I'm not saying it's an exact replica of me, but I can see myself in the picture, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
It does, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not me. Like, if you put us next to, because you got two people.
That one meant to be pulled
someone may say that might be my cousin, or that may be my brother, but it's not me. So again, it's pulling something into. Was that King?
Yeah.
Again, this is the picture of grey area with that grey area written on the laptop. Is that David, or is that meant to be Paul?
That's David.
Yeah, send me that picture. I want to troll David with it.
but I mean, again, that type of work, you needed a real artist in order to create. And now, again, you're doing this. How long does it take to make these renders, Pete? Because I've never used these tools, and there's a part of me that doesn't want to use the tools. Quite frankly, I'll be totally honest, because I know on my Facebook feed they got, hey, all these tools you can use. I haven't touched one yet. There's a bit of me. It's like you're taking the genie out of the bottle, and I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole with it.
So it really depends. If you have the free version or the paid version. The free version doesn't take long. I mean, no, excuse me. The paid version, it takes minutes. Free version that takes about 20 to 30 seconds and pop up. Mm-hmm. So it takes a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. So in minutes, you're doing what an artist would have taken weeks, if not months, to perform. Back in the day, you would have to sit in front of a painter, and you would have to sit there for hours where he details and meticulously shows your face.
Yeah.
And now these guys are doing it, like I said, in minutes. So again, this is see, look at this. See, that looks absolutely nothing like me at all. Like, this
is the worst one of us.
Yeah. Looks absolutely.
They made me like I'm
me.
like 90 years old here, man. What the hell?
But again, it's a caricature of me, though. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody wanted to like create a show or an animated skit or something, and it had me in it, and you, and we were just kind of going about our business, and we provided the voices for it. It's almost like, okay, this is something that has kind of been inspired by us, but it's not us. But what if it gets to a point where it becomes us? Because I'll be honest, some of those renderings that were done of you, I did think, and this is the thing, it might be the way I look at myself versus the way I look at other people. Because in you, I did see a lot of those shots were very close. And you could probably say the same thing of me. Now, I may not see it in me because obviously I look at this face every day. I know every wrinkle on it, every line. So again, I can be a bit more critical when it comes to looking at myself, but in other people, because I'm not in your face every day, I can say, oh, yeah, that's Pete. Yeah. When was that picture taken? And then you come to me and says, oh, that's not him. It's like, man, it certainly looks a lot like you. You know what I mean? So that's that experience also, when we see ourselves versus we're seeing other people. And I think that's something that again, we got to be mindful of when it comes to this, how it affects you emotionally as a viewer, as a watcher, as a how you absorb these products. And what impact that's going to have. So again, as far as the question of replacing artists and people like that, I think the fact that a lot of this work is being done to fill gaps that weren't able to be filled before, I think that's a good thing, because if those are other artists or those writers, if they could have came out with these stories again in between the Star Wars films or expanded conversations based on the known universe, what I like about these shorts that they're doing, that they exist, they play within the rules that have been established by the episodes 1 through 6. And so, yes, you can explore out, but they're telling you, you cannot go past this. You cannot change canon. And so these stories, just like Rogue One did, these stories fit within a very familiar, a very comfortable universe that allows you some freedoms to kind of go outside of it, but it always ties back to what we know.
So I'm gonna backtrack here a second. Let me get this back up here and go over that, like you were saying. So you're saying the pictures, if I feel a little like me, this one, my face a little bit, I will say, they call it a little bit my face when I have my side comb over.
And definitely you were that to go.
Yeah. Anyway, that caught me a little bit in this. So now with this one right here, with us in it, this looks nothing, absolutely nothing like me. This looks nothing like King, nothing like you or CQ. None of us look anything like that.
See, now when I look at it, I think it looks enough like you to say, oh, that's Pete. And enough like CQ to say that is CQ. But for me and King, yes, I agree. Looks nothing like me nor King. But for some reason, how we perceive, and again, it may come across because, again, how often we interact or lack thereof. But again, some of these here, it's like whatever is identifying you as either Peter or CQ, or even King for that matter, I can see it.
So one thing about King, I will tell you right now, he doesn't wear a wedding ring. Number one. Second, they're missing CQ's gut. But I've been around CQ for over 20 years, so I can picture him from a mile away. So he doesn't look nothing like him. Me, that's a dorky version of me, definitely nothing like me. But these right here, these didn't catch you one bit. Nothing like your face. I'll be honest with you.
Right.
It looked like a freaking.
Well, like I said, obviously the nose, I think they got. I think the lack of eyebrows, they got. I think even the smile, they got, and obviously the body. I mean, just what the so again, it's inspired. Like I said, if I looked at it, and I'd be like, okay, like I said, I can see that could be a relative of mine. Okay. Just like that could be a relative of yours, a cousin, a first. That could be a first cousin of yours. Like I said, it's pulling enough into the view so that it's like it makes you mimics enough. But I would say, yeah, but again, if I saw you at night, or just until you come up, if I saw you in the train station, hey Pete, and I come up on you, oh, you're not Pete. The difference is going to be how close do I have to get up to you to recognize that was not you. I'm saying if I saw
that much
from 20 feet away.
By looking at it, okay, they got the gray hairs on point, bastards. The smile, they got it wrong on me because I don't smile like that. You know that already. The eyes, a little bit. They changed my tattoo completely. They have some flower tattoo, and I have a dragon tattoo on that. Like, yo, that's But if you go to the next one, this one,
left arm.
Yeah, that looks nothing like
Like guys,
that almost looks like a 32-bit graphic version. That's like if someone came out with a video game in 1994 on either the N64 or something like that, like that would look like that. Like we were digitized into a video game, and when the game starts up, like we would look like that. If they wanted to digitize us, 64-bit graphics or 32-bit graphics.
If I had to break down, this looks like your great grandfather. Like you look similar.
I thought it was Paul 20 years from now.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Maybe. Well, I'm just saying, but if this was a video game, right?
Yeah.
But with me, we were made in a game. That's probably how they would animate us.
Yeah, with me, I don't think they catch none of my features correctly on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Not even one.
But it's not enough to say that it's not Pete, though.
This one right here, I would say is not me at all. That last one, this one here, I'll cut him slack on this one. But this one, I can't comment slack. Nothing like me.
But I'm saying when we get big and we launch and we got like 1 million subscribers, and let's just decide we decide to come out with an app, and our faces are on. Like I said, go back into the 90s or the early 2000s. We would probably look like exactly what they rendered there. So again, it's enough to associate those pictures with us, even though we would say it doesn't necessarily look like us. It's almost like the caricature of David that you showed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Huge head, small arms, all that stuff. But again, it's still David at the end of the day. I'm saying that AI is giving that kind of experience to people where even if it's not you and everything doesn't flow right, it's getting closer to something that a person could possibly run with and be like, I certainly see how this works. And again, not to get heady tonight. So again, we're talking about entertainment. Obviously there's a legal component to that. I mean, people, they start rendering you doing actions that are unethical or whatever, and that can lead to a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm saying, as far as this ability to, in minutes, capture the likeness or close enough of an individual and then animate it to an extent where you have them acting and doing things either in or out of the character. That has impact, certainly, on animators. Again, when digital animation came out, when you start having these movies, especially starting like with Terminator 2, when they did the CGI T-1000, again, there was a ton. You can look at the end credits. There were a ton of digital animators. It created a whole new industry for digital animators and digital animation, that people go to school to actually learn those skills, and then hopefully get a break, work for a special effects company like, Lucasfilm or something like that, and hone your craft and become a digital animator. So you're still an artist, but the art that you're generating is being done through different tools. And they started creating these 3D animatronic or animated type of characters. Look at Jurassic Park, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what they were able to do, again, we talked about that when the movie came out. The experience to this day is burned into my mind. The experience of having those kids in that front row, watching that T-Rex tear into that car, screaming their heads off because they were traumatized by the scene.
I was scared and terrified at that age. That was back in '93.
Yeah, and unbelievable, and also the sound. Like, I don't even know, like, science is saying now the T-Rex didn't have vocal cords or whatever, but the sound that it made pumping through those speakers in the movie theater also added to the experience. And now you got these, and again, all that was new technology at the time, but now these animators, what about them in the future? Are they going to have jobs in the future to continue to create the way they did before, or are they going to become obsolete in a few years, where you don't need these digital animators, that the AI is basically going to do a good portion, or maybe do again, we talked about that 90%, right? So the AI could get you 90% home, and you may hold on to a couple of really highly skilled, like, you guys remember the Deepfake guy? Y'all remember Deepfakes?
No.
Look up on YouTube this guy. He would do these Deepfakes on.
They're still going to need CGI, guys, because if you look at the film Matrix 2, the second one, where they had that war, and I actually watched the making of it, right? This guy was on a specially designed crane that was literally very heavy, especially even hard to use, but they used a green screen around it to make it look like a robotic exoskeleton. Yeah,
right.
And they used CGI on top of that, so it's pretty good. So yeah, they're gonna need guys for that,
right? But what I'm saying about the Deepfake guys, he was already doing pretty good work on a lot of franchises. What he did was he took, like, remember on the Mandalorian, the season ender where Luke Skywalker shows up and he goes through the the place, he finds the Mandalorian and Grey Goo and whatnot and all of that, and you saw how it looked. Now again, the first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's AI, that's CGI, that's made up. It didn't quite look like Luke. But what he did, he took the same scene with everything that was done to it, and he just tweaked it. And now it looks a heck of a lot more like Luke Skywalker than before. So that's what I'm saying. That you may still need the human to fine tune the product, but if 90% of your work can be done with AI, that is a huge cost savings. Instead of hiring dozens of animators, you may only need a couple.
Okay.
The same thing happened with Eat Man, with the scene with Bruce Lee, Eat Man 4. They were seeing this is in the Ip Man series. They finally introduced Bruce Lee into the series, and they used the same guy that they used in other Bruce Lee movies as a sort of a knockoff Bruce Lee. The Legend of Bruce Lee, which was a long-standing series in China. It was never released in the United States, but in China, the same actor that they used there, they used him in Eat Man 4. But then the Deepfake guy took that and he cleaned it up. Now, Pete, I don't know if we could show that, like, similar to what you did with the sound, not showing the sound of it. If we could
say video or different video.
No, I'm saying with a different video. But again, we can show it, but not show the sound of it. Can we do that?
You just if it's on Facebook on top hand corner, hit the mute button before you put it
right.
Up
But
there.
I'm saying, but on YouTube also, right? We can do that, right?
As long as we're talking.
Okay, so so I just want to show you one.
Mm-hmm. Because from my understanding, from a conversation I had with Wally, our manager of the station, our network, excuse me, he from anything I read, we're allowed to show as long as we're talking. Depends how, what kind of video. If it's like, let's say WWE thing, they're gonna flag us, anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. All right, let me see if I can get this here. I'm gonna bring this up. Oh, why is it doing it that way? Okay, so I'm going to see if I can bring this up. And again, we just talk through it. And I want to see if this one actually shows sort of the before, after. Should we still show the fair use, Pete?
Yeah, let me pop it up.
Okay, so this is, again, fair use. So you can put the fair use message up. We're going to use that. I'm not gonna bring in the sound.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I'm not even going to allow the sound to be shared.
Correct.
On the stream. So I'm not even going to allow that. Okay, so again, so this is from Eat Man 4, right? And this is Deepfake, at least the artist known as Deepfake, and this is what he does with it. And understand the actor that plays Bruce in this movie, again, is very well known as a Bruce Lee actor, right? But look what he does to the video, tweaking it to make the difference. So hopefully we can see this. So again, so this is a scene out of again, Eat Man 4. He shows up. See, that's the actor.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell it's a different actor, but you can tell it's like they're trying to play a Bruce Lee person,
right?
And
so actually, no, that is Bruce. See what he did there? It's that last second, right? It was the actor, but then he changed it, so now it looks a lot more like Bruce Lee. But there was a before and after comparison. Oh, here it is. This is what I want to see, right here. So again, this is again the edits, the deepfake edits. So right, so they're gonna go in. I think this is at the karate tournament that he shows up at. So watch, you can see the little tweaks that he does to make it look more like Bruce.
Yeah, I think this is what he did. He demonstrated a 5-inch punch.
Yep, exactly. Now watch when he takes his helmet off after the scene. Let me just speed it up a little bit. Why is it pausing?
Yeah, it's buffering.
Is that me? Hang on.
Yeah, that's your internet.
Let me check.
But
okay,
there we go.
So it comes back, and then see.
Wow, that's a huge difference. I don't know what he tweaked, but he did a good job on that.
That's what I'm saying. But he's done that with a lot of the. See, that's Bruce.
Yeah, you can see the difference night and day.
Yes, exactly.
But same thing with what's called it? What movies are that? The Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs. They look very, very realistic now these days.
Absolutely.
I'll give you another example. Jaws. The Irishman Jaws was not a AI or CG. It was a robot.
Robotic that didn't work well half the time.
Exactly. But if they had to, let's say they did a remake on that movie. Let's say for argument's sakes,
right?
And they use AI. Imagine how much more stuff they can done with that damn thing.
Right.
Let me ask you, Paul. Have you ever heard of the movie called Final Fantasy: Spirits Within?
The movie, no. The game, yes, but not the not the movie.
In the movie, let me see if I can find it. Show you guys pictures. That movie looks so real. It wasn't funny. To the point that you didn't know if you were watching a real movie or a CGI movie or what.
Right.
They had real actors playing it, voice. It was incredible. It took them like 670. Oh, here it is. Let me show you guys really fast. And you can see just from the one picture I blew up right here. See, you can see the difference. Let me see if I can get more images here for you guys. So if you see her pictures, look at her hair, everything look so realistic. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
This is when DVDs first came out, by the way.
Right.
I literally had a double look.
Yeah.
A few years later, I end up I never purchased the movie at DVD. I end up purchasing it in a Blu-ray version. When the Blu-ray, obviously Blu-ray was a lot better quality than DVDs. The quality, it was even better. I'm like, what the fuck?
That movie was awesome.
It was an incredible movie. An incredible movie. That should be on YouTube.
I was told that it was absolutely rubbish. But actually watched it. I was told that it was absolutely rubbish. But when I actually watched it myself, it was brilliant.
I enjoyed it personally. But the point I'm trying to get to is the three VRs and the CGRs and all that stuff. It's incredible these days. We're talking about early 2000s they were doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And now is even a level above that. So
for sure. Let me show one more picture. This is again what I was talking about from the Mandal. I'm just going to show the picture of it. So again, this is the deep fake versus the work that was done in the series. So you talk about a guy who, again,
I remember seeing this. Yes, I remember this scene.
So you see on the right how much more it looks like. So again, they got 90%. Like you can look at the guy on the left and say, yeah, that's a pretty good CGI job, but it's not quite there yet. Again, you can use AI to get you to that 90%. But you still may need an animator like Deepfake to get you to the remainder, get you home towards like 95, 98% to where it's almost imperceptible between the actual actor and the AI or CGI actor. But you see that just little subtlety in the light, in the shading, in the, again, just the fine detail. And this is, I think, where certainly for the animators, I think this is really where the place is. Because I think a lot of these studios, a lot of these companies, I mean, considering that these films cost nowadays hundreds of millions of dollars to make.
Yeah.
They're going to go some cost-cutting measures and keep a few people on to do the work that's on the right in the deepfake area, so that they can, save a lot of money doing it. So that, for me, that's my fear for the industry in terms of where this is going. I can understand certainly why people want to protest it and whatnot, but I don't see how you can, necessarily get away from that.
Scene specifically just showed, from my understanding, from what I read and what's in the views, they were saying they took this in 3 steps. Trying to find an actor that looked very, very similar to I can't remember
Mark Hamill.
Thank you, Mark Hamill. A very similar one. And they did that. They used CGI with AI to create the look that we saw in the show. So they had to take a 3-step. They couldn't just put, let's say, me or you in that place, because it wasn't going to work out too well at the time. But now let's fast forward to 2026. They probably don't even need somebody in there to just plug it in a code, whatever the code they plug it in the coder who does AI, and bada bing, bada boom. But the acting thing, it does makes me a little nervous, because I don't feel like you can replace the actual acting emotions. Like, oh my God, I'm like, oh, getting nervous or running or whatever the case is. Something's good, but you can't. Like, I know you're not a big gamer, today's gamers, but you've seen clips of gaming a little bit of the newer stuff, right?
Sure.
Okay, so the trailers, you see how realistic those are these days, right?
No question.
You question it and like, is that the game or what? That's why now when they're releasing trailers, they're carefully to how to pronounce them. They say theatrical trailer or game trailer, because people expected that's how the game is supposed to be, and they're getting they're getting all pissed off because it's not like that. So the trailers are CGI produced by AI. So however they're programming, I don't know the ins and outs, obviously. But some of those trailers of the gaming are very realistic. Call of Duty, great example.
Right.
Like a couple of the scenes, it made me question. Like the reboot of Modern Warfare, when I first played it, I had to literally take my glasses off. I went like, am I seeing this right? And I have a powerful TV. I have a 8K TV I play on, 85-inch. So I'm gonna catch every little glimpse, problem, hair out of place. I catch it all on that big TV. But when I saw that, I'm like, wow. That's what I said to myself. Wow.
Right. Now, let me take this combo into, because I think a lot of what we talked about so far is in the live action sort of space, right? Like replacing real actors with AI versions of them or whatever. But to your point on games, I'm wondering, and I wish either Wally or David could be here to talk about this. What impact do you think that AI could have on either cartoons or anime even? Like, could you see anime? Because again, in the anime, in the cartoon, in the non-real life space, I mean, there already is a suspension of belief, right? You don't have to get the characters like 100%, because again, just like with the animators, renderings of the characters change all the time depending on the property. You look at a comic book, depending on the writer or the art director, you have different. That's why you have, over the years, over the decades, you have different versions of how the Hulk looks, different versions of how Superman looks, different versions of how Spider-Man looks, and so on and so forth. And I'm thinking the same thing with these Japanese animators, right? So what if these folks start then using AI in that space, where you don't have to worry so much about having to get every detail right because there's an automatic suspension of belief that could anime developers or artists or cartoon artists. Could those guys really start to feel the heat? Because again, if AI can just take these non-realistic, I mean, you're basically already shedding off like a dimension of realism. The fact that you're in the animated space, whether it be anime or cartoon, that's already, so you don't have to worry so much about that. But what if you start turning that over to these artists, to these AI artists instead of the actual anime artists? Are those guys in trouble? And I don't know in the anime space. I don't know if those guys are here. I don't know if the that community, just like here in the U.S. where they were talking about the strikes, or when they had the strikes against the studios or whatnot. I don't know if the same debate or the same angst is happening in the anime world. Because you could certainly use, in fact, or even if you wanted to add now, like I said earlier, right? We saw all these cartoons like the Thundercats and the Herculoids and all these other things where they brought 2-dimensional cartoons into 3D animated lifelike characters. They already showing that they can do that. What if in those anime spaces they start to do the same thing? If not making them 3D, keep them 2D as they are, but create them through AI. What then happens to the anime artist?
I've seen some stuff that I'm watching, because I'm not a humongous anime fan, but I dabble my a little bit in the deep end of the water, like Gundam and stuff like that. Like you saw before with the Gundam ones I showed. I think they're already experimenting with that stuff, and they can replace voices very easily with AI because you don't need voice actors. It's easier to replace a voice actor than a actual actor. I think personally. Again, I'm talking personally here. Again, they tread dangerous waters again on that one.
Yeah, but even when it comes to acting, like is that they're using AI now, like I said, on these Star Wars threads, they're using AI to basically take a look at every spoken dialogue. Like obviously last year we lost James Earl Jones, right? So you know that there's not going to ever be the Darth Vader. That voice will never come up again, ever.
Correct.
But they are using AI. They're basically able to take every sample voice dialogue that James Earl Jones ever spoke, and they're able to now mimic. It's not quite there yet. You can tell if you watched the Obi-Wan series, it's not perfect. But they're starting to use that now to get even the voices of some of these folks. And that you think is going to also improve over time. So we talked about what's going to happen to the animators, what's going to happen to the actors, especially the ones that have passed on. Like there's some legendary voices that we haven't heard about. Frank, if you remember Frank Latta, I don't know how many people remember Frank Latta, but he was the voice from the 80s of Starscream in the Transformers in the Transformers series, and Cobra Commander in the G.I. Joe series. Right? So again, and we've never heard that voice since. And that was always a big thing of mine because they brought Frank Welker and Peter Cullen back to do Optimus in Megatron. But I always thought that what was missing, it was Starscream's voice. Even though Starscream was in the movie, he didn't sound like Starscream.
The first movie, the very first movie, they had the original actor.
No, because Latta died years before that, though. He died pretty young.
Okay, so I'm mistaken then. I apologize on that. That's my fault.
Yeah.
They could use I know AI wasn't really big at the time, AI has been around longer than we know. AI has been got popular now lately, the last 2 years. But AI has been around for a while, since the early 2000s.
Early 90s.
I'm talking about a movie industry now.
Yeah, the AI has been around since the early 90s.
Okay, so 90s. Let's say 90s. I'm not going to argue 20s, whatever. Let's say 90s. They could have used AI to voice change very easily to use a guy's voice. Do you remember in the 90s they had this toy that you could speak into it and then you hit a button and change the voice?
But see, technically it doesn't change. I got to be careful with my words here because you're not changing the voice. Because again, we're talking about because a voice print is not digital like traditionally so. It's analog. So again, like those machines that you're talking about, they would play it's our voice, but they just take the octave down, they turn it up and down like this. But it's still, you're not going to capture the actual flow, the rhythm of it, because again, our vocal patterns are analog. They're waves, sound waves. So it's hard to get that, but I'm saying they're starting to do this with this AI. Because if you've seen, especially those early voices, a lot of those AI voices, they sound still a little bit static, a little bit robotic. The early versions of what they did with Darth Vader were a bit robotic. Now, Eric says in the chat that certainly Avery Brooks does sound a lot like James Earl Jones. I disagree. I think he has a bass voice, it's a low voice, it's a tenor voice and whatnot. But again, it's still not quite there, at least to the viewer. If I close my eyes and had James Earl Jones do a Darth Vader line and Avery Brooks do a Darth Vader line, I'm still going to be able to determine who's that, in part because I've watched a lot of Avery Brooks stuff. Obviously at Deep Space Nine, so I know the actor, the character, the intonations, those subtleties. Again, that gray area, 5 to 10%, that makes somebody special, that makes them unique. And I'm saying AI, they're trying to break that extra 5% so that the voice, that when the voices are speaking, it doesn't sound choppy. It sounds conversational. You're seeing it with these AI robots. Like you said earlier, Pete, like now you have these where you can have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to also do that with the voice and the dialogue. So if you can go back in time, you can bring almost back anybody. You can bring back Peter Cushing because you have voice data of his work from the 50s, the 40s. You can bring back Alec Guinness from all the work that he did over the years and compile that into a sound catalog, teach AI how to mimic it. I mean, this used to be science fiction. Remember the Terminator, right? That was one of the abilities of the Terminator, right? When Sarah calls her mom and, the Terminator's got the mom's voice. He's like, "I love you too, sweetheart." That was something that we thought was science fiction. Now you get into a point now where AI is going to figure this out. And so what is that going to do for the voice actor? In a way, I don't mind, but I'll put a caveat on it. If you're talking about using the name, image, or likeness, including their voice of an actor, especially one who has, I don't care if they're living or passed on, I think they should get some royalties for everything that their voice is in. Everything. If they're part of Screen Actors Guild, and again, I think this is a compromise that I think has to be made, because again, Screen Actors Guild, all those guys who struck a couple years ago, I don't think AI is going anywhere, but they're going to have some kind of deal. Studios want to do it because it saves them money. I'm saying take some of that money that you're saving, and every time you want to use a likeness of James L. Jones' voice in Star Wars, his estate gets a check. Or if the actor's still alive, and let's say they didn't want to, if they haven't given their either permission, or maybe they're busy, they can't do it, but they said, okay, I give you permission to use my voice in a film because I might be working on something else. I might not have the time to come in and sit in the studio for several hours to shoot my lines of dialogue and be part of the project. But you can use my voice. But if you do, then I want to check. Just like if I came in and did the voice work, you paid me as a voice actor, I want to check. Does it have to be 100% like as if you were doing it live? No. But I think it should be a portion, maybe 50%, 25%. What if from this point on, they actually master James Earl's voice, not even James Earl's voice, Darth Vader's voice, because even Darth Vader's voice is really James Earl Jones' voice, but it's modulated, it's deepened, it's expanded for the screen, just like that toy that you were talking about earlier, Pete. Mm-hmm. It's James Earl Jones' voice, especially if you hear it in Return of the Jedi. He sounds like he's in a deep sound room. He's talking to a big mic, and it's amplified. Now, if you want to label that as Darth Vader's voice, James Earl Jones' estate should get a cut for that performance. And I think that's ultimately what these guys are going to have to work out with the Screen Actors Guild. And studios, yeah, you're not. So if something's going to cost you $100, you only have to pay $25 of it, and that $25 mostly goes to the actors who have let you use their name, image, and likeness. And I think that's fair. Imagine me as a retired actor. I'm in my 70s, I'm in my 80s, and I'm retired. But they found something about the work that I did back in the 50s or 60s meaningful, and now I get a check from that. I think that's fair. The studio's still going to save money because they don't have the overheads of flying you in and managing your stay and paying you a salary and all that. They don't have to worry about that. But you get to collect something because, again, for every ticket sale or streaming or whatever it is, you're going to get a check at the end of the month for the voice work that you contributed to. And AI, I think, is going to make that process, I think, smoother in that these voices are going to get so lifelike that, hey, but I think it's good for everybody if they can come to the table. Now, will studios do it? Again, just like anything else, corporate folks, they have a very selfish and short-term way of how they see things. It's just the nature of the beast. But the right thing to do is reward these legendary actors. Pick any actor. Pick, Al Pacino. Pick, Robert De Niro. Pick any legendary voice that we have any kind of affinity or affection for. And let them get paid too. So I think AI has a role there, and I think that as time goes on, these voices are going to be they're going to be able to do things with these voices. Once AI learns, you're going to be able to create dialogue and voice work that could be infinite. They can say anything in the voice of the actor that was used. And I think that's big. Your thoughts, guys? I'm running here, but your thoughts on that, Pete?
There's a lot of process here. It's so to make it fair. That's the hardest part. We may spitball ideas like, okay, you should roll up fees, whatever. But who says at some point they're going to, the studios are saving money because of the royalty fees, and they say, okay, except paying you $1.5 million for the job, and the royalty fees from the movies selling, whatever, streaming, DVD, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Now you're only getting $500,000. That's half the money they're used to making.
I'm saying it's better than nothing.
I agree with you.
Everyone's going to have to compromise on this, right? The actors, because again, those guys are going to be limited by time, availability on projects. And what I'm really talking about is not even the live actors, because again, you still have choice over what you take. I'm talking about if you want to make a film and you want to use James Earl Jones' voice, who's no longer here. Mm-hmm. But his family's still here. His grandkids are still here.
live his memory in good positive way.
Yeah, because for me, the fan, and like I said, I heard it in the recent work. It's still not quite. If you tried to use Avery Brooks' voice or some other, because there have been several actors that have done Darth Vader type voices in films. But if you're a Star Wars fan, you know that's not Darth Vader. And you got to make up in your mind, well, maybe they adjusted his voice box to sound a little bit different. But if I want James Earl Jones, that should cost you something. And it's not like, obviously, we can't go back and get them. But again, AI is going to take every line, which wasn't much. I mean, if you add up James L. Jones' lyrics or lines in the whole franchise, it's probably no more than 10 minutes. But you keep playing it in that AI engine, and it learns it so that it can talk about anything. It can say, my brown dog jumped over, my big brown dog jumped over the lazy over the fence. And you say, okay, James Earl, say that. And he'd be like, my big brown dog jumped over the lazy fence. And it sounds exactly like him.
Like for example, Paul, I use music for example here for a minute. Like the music we have for our network is all AI produced. And we own the rights and everything to that. That's another good example. Like these musicians put their soul in writing this music. So now you're taking away their writing. You're taking away from their instrument playing, and now you're taking away their what's the word I'm looking for? Singing. Mm-hmm. So how are they going to make money now?
Being original. See, the thing is, again, how many of those artists, the live artists that you're talking about, you pitch to them, look, I have a show. I need a theme for a show. I need you to write me a theme and music and everything and arranged and have the arrangements in order for that to work. Even if you found somebody, how much is it going to cost you to do that? I don't think you would have to spend at least $10,000 for that.
Minimum.
For an artist, for their time, for studio time, for take after retake, for them to write the lyrics of it and everything together. You're talking at least $10,000.
Yeah, on the minimum too. We're talking about.
Yeah. So you're saying you basically fed. Now, how did that work? What did you do? You basically, what program did you use? Talk about it. What program did you use? How did you feed it the information? How did it spit out that song? So what was the vehicle? What inputs did you give it in order for it to spit out the output that we hear here every week?
So we're using me and CQ use a program called AI Music. You can't just plug it in. You have to actually pay a membership for that.
Okay.
So then he has a spot, and CQ usually does his magic, saying what exactly is the theme of the song. So whatever the prescription is for example, Hangout is so we're talking about pop culture, debates about pop culture, yada yada yada. You get the idea, all right? Mm-hmm. And you can as further down, it can ask you want anything else, like you hear like the animated theme song has David and Wally's name in it, for example,
right,
and so on. Then you hit enter, it does its thing, buffer. It could take about 10 minutes, it could take about 20, it could take 45 minutes. What's so funny?
10 minutes. That is, like I said at the beginning of the show, it is terrifying, good and bad.
Okay.
In that it's amazing that you can spit out a song in 10 minutes when you got writers.
It's not one song. There are over 20 songs comes out.
It's scary.
Yeah, and it gives you different versions from a rock song to a pop song.
That's scary.
Early song, and
I know they're using where they're also using it. Like I don't know if you're watching these commercials they've been having where a guy wants to write a song about his wife. Like let's say it's their anniversary, right?
Okay.
And he talks about when he feeds into the engine, how they meet. When did they meet? What did they talk about on the first date? Why she's so special and all this kind of stuff. And the guy's in the car with his wife. So it's the anniversary. They're driving in the car. And he just said, hey, let's put some music on. And he puts the music on. And this song starts playing. And the lady, she's like, okay, all right, yeah. And then she starts hearing some things. It's like, wait a minute. Yeah, this song, how did, this song is talking about something that, yeah, I can relate to. And it goes from, I can relate to this song to what's that, wait a minute. And then in the middle of the song, it says, Sharon, you are the best thing that happened to me. And then the wife looks at the husband like, what did you do? Because the guy he paid I guess for a service, this AI music service, and he fed some points about, again, their meeting, their relationship, their struggles, whatever it is, and the AI spits out a perfectly composed song to some music tracks, and he could just play it in the car, and she's just totally blown away because of this AI music. I mean, it's like I said, the commercial application of this is such that I can imagine getting married, right? And usually, like at my wedding, we had singers. Like we had people who sung song selections at my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
What if I then did an AI version of it where the song, I could talk about Dottie and be like, when you came into my life and this and that, and you changed my life forever, and we're going to have a life and all this da.
Can do it.
And it's like, she's already emotional at the altar, right? Imagine if I had that song back in 1997. Imagine if I had that, So talk about that for a minute, guys. I got to take this call real quick. My daughter, so I'm just going to go off the screen for a minute. But talk about that AI for the music. So we talked about the artists. We talk about the writers. We talk about all these people. Now talk about the music, and I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. So my personal opinion is the music, that's a different territory completely. You're taking away for their livelihood. You're taking their way to do things. So, man, that's a danger route. That's a rabbit hole. I don't even know.
Yes, they say it's the future, but it's also screwing people over in the long run.
Absolutely, I'm not denying that one bit. You're 100% right about that.
As I said, I love AI. I love anything technical, but I don't want it to become like Skynet. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm not disagreeing one bit, dude. But what I'm saying to you right now is, as much as like Paul is saying, this is the future, or maybe we royalty right, but in music, what kind of royalty rights you can give these guys? They don't need them. The program doing it. So you don't. They're not going to write the music anymore. They're not going to play the music. They're not going to sing it. So how are they going to make money at that point then?
They don't.
And you think that's fair for them?
Not at all.
That's my point.
Because people make their own music. They're like, oh, screw this. I don't want to listen to this artist no more. I'll make my own instead.
That is my point.
It goes back to the fact of goes back to the time where everyone was downloading music for free. Do you know what I mean? And the artist never got any royalty out of it at all.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, man.
Similar sort of thing, but it's not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not getting any royalty. People remix songs of people in the clubs, nightclubs. When I was living in the pub, we had to pay royalty to any song that we played in the pub.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they came around and slammed us with a fine. So I can't remember. It many years ago, but it was absolute stupidity because we should be able to play any song we like, but certain songs we have to pay royalty on, even though we own the CD and we own the tracks and stuff like that. We physically paid for them. We still had to pay royalty because we're playing it in a public event, basically a nightclub.
I did not know that one bit. That's do you know that, Paul?
What's that? I think
that the UK the bars have to pay royalty rights to all the music playing there.
I can believe that. I can believe that.
I don't.
Well, even now, it's like I had on Facebook. So like my daughter's sweet 16 parties, right? So we would have segments from there where either like when they came out or certain music that was played when we had our daddy daughter dance, and YouTube or Facebook they muted it because it was using music that was in the that we didn't have the rights to play, so they muted it. But I'm like, wait a minute, this was an event. I mean, obviously the host of the event, they had the right to play the music at the club or the wherever the venue was. But for some reason, this is a lot of it. I didn't add music to it later. This was the actual music that was being played in the ballroom or whatever the function was. And we couldn't, they just muted it. So again, this is a moment that I wanted to share with, my friends and family and my social media, and it got muted. So again, I think there's a lot of issues there in terms of how that I want artists to get paid. But that being said, I mean, I kind of agree with Craig, and I think that was the whole thing behind. Remember going back to Napster and all those guys that look, I pay for it. I can rip this CD, pull it off, and play it. What's the difference? Or if I hear the music on the airwaves, right, playing on my radio, if I had a cassette recorder or something like that, I can record it off of that and play it. So again, to me, there was just the music industry in terms of compensation. There was a lot of loopholes. I think that people certainly were able to take advantage of. But I think there should be, once the music is paid for, I do think there should certain liberties. If you're playing at a club, at a party, or whatever, I don't think you should necessarily get paid royalties on top of that.
I did a live stream about a year or so ago on my Facebook, and Sony actually muted my channel and muted my stream because of certain music I was playing.
Wow.
I know my buddy. Remember I mentioned my buddy who DJs down the block from here?
Yeah.
His wife always Facebook records it on his Facebook fan page. Every single time.
They strike it. Yeah.
They mute it completely.
They mute it, yeah.
Yeah. When it's live, it's fine. But when you go back to watch it, it's not there anymore, the music. They take it off. So, and I kind of figured as much of that. And I kind of told him like you kind of shoot yourself in the foot because you're literally you don't own the rights for that stuff.
Right. So now, right. So again, I for the artists who put in the work to create the music, certainly I want you to get paid. But now, if you're gonna force more people to say like bump you, now could your guy, like I know people go and dance and stuff to music that they hear, like I said, on the radio or streaming or something. But do you think it is possible for your friend, the DJ, to create a catalog of music purely from AI and play it in clubs and whatnot and just have it work? Could he do that at some point?
Yes, and I know also me and him have spoken. He still DJs the old school way in a way. When I mean that old school, like he has the headset on. I mean the Beats headset, like that.
Does he still use records, or does he use like just the CDs or the mixer?
Actually, he uses a mixing deck. It's called. So he.
I know
all these. I'm sorry.
I know what you're about. It's basically a table. It's about so big, right?
It's humongous.
It's got a turntable that you can spin the 360.
Yeah,
it doesn't have any CDs or anything on it.
Yeah, but he had to plug in two laptops. He can do one, but he prefers two. So when he's working one, he work on the other song as so he uses his ear to blend the music in correctly.
Basically, like a virtual DJ.
I'm sorry.
Basically, there's a software that I don't know if it's still about, but it used to be a bit of software that I used to use back in.
He has a software on that too. I actually want to get him on a show. I'm going to bring him on a show soon to do a interview with him and all that stuff. But from what he was telling me, all these young DJs are not even blending the music by ear anymore. They're using AI to blend the music now too.
Yeah.
So technically, you don't even need an AI anymore. I'm a DJ at a club more. But most of these guys prefer the live stuff because it sounds better. But when they see AI, like, why am I paying you $500-$600 a night to be here when I can download the music myself and just do it.
Well, to that point now, I think now an artist, I can certainly see from the owner of the club or whatever trying to make that case. But that's why I think you really have to be good as a DJ, because one thing a DJ can do that I don't think AI can is you got to be able to read a room. So you see how people are dancing, how they're vibing, how they're whatever, how you drop or switch to that next track or blend in the next one at the right time. Be able to read a room and say, okay, basically, now we're going to go here and have that crowd lit like this. I don't see how AI, at least at this point. Now, again, they may get there. I can't see them being, because AI is pre-programmed.
Correct.
So you don't know how the room is being read if you let the AI do it, because you do all that before you even know. You don't even know who's showing up. But let's just say the crowd has like tonight's Valentine's Day night, right? At least in the U.S. here, Craig. It's Valentine's Day. So the idea is like, what if, okay, people are out. We went to dinner tonight. The restaurants are crowded. I'm sure the clubs are crowded for Valentine's. People, they.
Funny enough, he's DJing tonight, for example, down the street.
Right. So again, you're going to have a crowd in your club that's probably double than what it normally is.
Yeah.
And that's going to create a different vibe altogether. So you can't pre-program that on a deck.
We had all that in the pub in Eastbourne. It was crowded.
Right. Right. So again, I think that's an area where traditional artists can win. If you just need music for a wedding or something like that, or some sort of other social event, then I guess AI music I can certainly see having a place, and certainly to create theme songs for shows and whatnot, I can certainly understand that. But if you're talking about a live dynamic where you want people to act or be affected emotionally, I think you can still do that as a DJ. Now, again, I haven't seen many though with that kind of talent. I've seen a few. I've been to some parties that, I mean, the DJ was off the chain. I mean, it was just, he had, like I said, and my wife, she's very finicky about her music. You put the right music on, you can't get off the dance floor.
Have you ever seen the movie Kevin and Perry Go Large?
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it. No.
That's a DJing one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how Frank DJs, it isn't a night, and it's rare when he doesn't have people on the dance floor. It's always packed every time. He has a good following and good, and like, actually, I can bring it up here. And he does it the right way. That's one thing I will say about Frank. Mm-hmm. And that's the benefit about it. So he did it two different places right now, and he's good. That's the thing. When you're good, I'm telling you, like your wife is picking, she won't get you off the dance floor. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but I'm saying, but a lot of DJs can't do that because again, they don't know how to keep, like, you got the people on the dance floor for a minute, and you want to keep them there because it's almost like you want to get off the dance floor. And then he mixes something else and say, "Oh wait, we can't. Oh, we got it. Oh, they put that on. Oh, we got to go back." And you're on. But few DJs can do that. And the fact that when DJs started pre-programming their music, I think it took a lot from that. I mean, we got to ask our guy from Detroit about that. But JT, because I know he has a DJ background, or if you want to get your guy on to talk about that. Maybe that could be an upcoming show. But the idea here is that, again, the art of looking at the crowd, it's almost like wrestling, right? Yeah, I mean, that's what you want. And you want to keep that energy going. You want them girls there because that's going to get the guys on there. And look at the guy there. He's macking now, right? He's got his drink. He's got his thing. That is what you want all the time, right?
So one thing that Frank told me a long time ago with DJing, here's a trick about DJing for anybody who wants to get into the DJ world. So he goes, you have to go up, but you got to bring it back down and you got to put them back up. Mm-hmm. I looked at him, why don't you want them always up? I don't understand that. I'm like, very simple, dude. If they want to go get it, you want to spend money at the bar too. So it's not only about the DJ. If the bartenders are not making money, that means the bar's not making money and you're not making money.
That makes sense.
So you want up and down, kind of a wave kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense. The worst part about, those kind of crowds, good luck going to the bathroom.
Yeah. But is there a time that I said up and down? Is there a time like in the night? And again, this might be a question for him. I don't know if he shared this with you. Where you want the ball in there for 20 minutes straight or 30 minutes straight. And then, like I said, give him the break. Like I said, maybe early on in the night, there could be a lot of on and off stuff, but there's like a segment in the night, maybe around 10, 10:30, 11, where you want people really, like, again, sweating it up and getting, because again, that works. That's the thing too. You work up a sweat. What's the first thing? I need a drink. I mean,
yeah. So he kind of feels the crowd. So once he sees him getting really hyped up, and the other thing with hyped up too, fights break out when they get too hyped up with alcohol too. So that's another reason why you want to bring them back down, because less chance of fights are breaking out too. I've been there multiple times at the bar. Fight has never broke out. The bouncers are always on point there.
Right.
And I felt very safe there, put it this way.
Right. Well, I think certainly again, this point that we're making, I think that's an area that AI in the entertainment space hasn't broken yet. Can AI literally think on its feet?
No, not right now, I think.
And I think, and so in those areas of entertainment where you are performing live performances, I think that is an area that, again, where people are going to have to improve your craft in those areas so that you can always be relevant in those areas. But again, if you're talking about something that's pre-recorded, AI is going to take over that space very quickly. So again, anything in the studio, session work, session drummers and session musicians and things like that, those guys, I would think that would be something to be fearful of. But you cannot fake or you cannot AI live. And I think there's certainly something where, again, people are going to have to make that transition in that space. But anything that is produced, it's all for grabs. The last area that we haven't talked about tonight, again, is the writing. So again, we talked about the actors being replaced. We talked about the voice actors. We talked about the music. What about the writing? Because now you can get to a point where you can, because we had our guy on who's the comedian who's also does the writing. I forget his name.
Dwayne White.
No, the younger guy, the last guy we had on, younger.
Shit.
The younger guy,
Miller.
Yes, but he writes. He's wrote books. What happens if you just spit into I want a screenplay, I want a script, or I want a book. And this is what the book is about. This is the characters. This is what I want, and then just go. And it creates a screenplay or a book for you. Where's it going to leave those guys? So that is an area too that I think is of concern in the entertainment space. Authors of you can say, like, I want to write a book about medieval times with dragons and knights and houses and kingdoms and stuff. And someone spits out a Game of Thrones knockoff.
Or forget it, knockoff. Like, he gave you an idea. Samurai meets Greek, for argument's sakes. All right, that's the title right there. That's the idea. You go, all right, Samurai, right? Space bar. I hit by my space bar, by the way. So whatever you put in there, you type it in, hit enter, ding. Next thing you know, like, I'll be back in an hour. Then you have 6 novels right there. So you just eliminate another job right there. Yeah. So we're limited actors, we're limited singers, writers, and performers. We're limited writers. So what is left after that? How do you protect this industry at this point?
Yeah.
That we all 3 of us can sit there and agree we love this industry more than anything.
And could you recognize the difference? Now, I know I was literally just talking to somebody not too long ago about AI and schools. right? Like, so again, this one teacher did, they got this, they have ways to, like, say, like, you got an exam, a final report, or an essay or something that you got to do. There are things that you can do. There's patterns, there's things that you can measure, or there's tools. There's AI tools to catch the AI, right? So you can know when a term paper has been, like, plagiarized, or a work has been plagiarized, because again, there's certain repeated patterns. You can take a look at a ton of papers, right? And the AI can pick up certain patterns, certain things that are repeating within the submissions to say, okay, this has been doctored because everybody must have got this AI paper from the same, they downloaded the paper from this same place and they tried to submit it in, and they're able to capture it and they get an F grade because they said, I'm sorry, this was a plagiarizer, this is an AI work.
They're trying to use AI to replace teachers.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, but you have currently what's going on right now, you have students who are trying to turn in AI papers. And I'm saying, and now the teachers are using AI to catch those AI papers. Because again, AI, because it's still a bit methodical, you can pick up on certain patterns and intonations that are within the within the work. Now Erica's pushing back that you'll never replace AI against Roger Zeleny or Lineker. I hope not.
We're hoping, but we don't know that yet either. Let's be honest.
Because again,
let's go Ace Nice for a second here, Paul. Because we're not there yet. But let's say when we do get there, I am hoping Eric is 100% right on this one.
Right.
But let's say for the conversation and for the argument at this moment, let's say he's wrong. Again, let me ask you this question once more time to the panel. How do we protect these jobs for people who live for these jobs? And we love it too. We love it as people who enjoy the content. How do we keep these jobs safe?
Honestly,
cut back on the AI a little bit.
Just like every other industry. Now, you guys remember, going back to my wrestling days.
Oh boy!
Everybody remembers Dusty Rhodes and the Hard Times. If you haven't watched it, go back on YouTube and look at Dusty Rhodes talking about hard times. And back in the 80s, jobs were being replaced by the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, because again, jobs were going overseas, and you started to have the introduction of robotics, and people had to get out of work. People who worked in those mills, those steel mills, those auto factories and whatnot, jobs slashed or jobs got moved overseas. And now it seems like all this time, the artisans, the arts was like a protected place. Because again, in industry, it's about duplication, mass replication, mass duplication, mass assembly of a thing that you want to be exactly the same. For years, that could not apply to the arts. Now it does. So should the arts be any more excluded from the changes that have been happening through technology that has affected almost every other industry? The only other industry that hasn't been affected yet by this is sports. And the athletes on the field. Now, unless you're going to start having robots play each other, I don't believe it. I don't think that'll ever come off. I don't care how good you can make the robots play. It'll never come off. Now, I remember that show. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a show that was on. I think there was a show also, Craig, in the UK. I think it was called Hardware Wars, where people would build these What's that?
Robot Wars.
Yeah, where people build these robots and they would fight each
Robot
other.
Wars. That's what it was called, Robot Wars.
Yeah, Robot Wars. But they would build these robots that were built for combat, and they would put them in the arena against one another.
I remember that. I think it was on MTV, if I'm not mistaken.
To destroy the other robot.
No, it wasn't. It was ITV.
Or to flip it on his back or defeat the robot.
Here in the States, I'm talking about, Greg. I think it was on MTV, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. I'm saying there's probably been several iterations, just like anything else. Like, American Gladiators. There was a UK version. There was an I'm just saying everyone kind of copies. I'm just saying, but that had a niche following for a while, but I think it fell off.
Yeah,
I don't think you'll have in sports You will never have professional athletes being replaced anytime, probably in the next 100 years. I can't see it in the next 100 years.
Have you guys ever heard of Red Wolf?
No.
Look it up. British TV series. Basically, it's futuristic sort of thing, right? Mm-hmm. But it's got an AI as a computer controlling the ship, trying to keep Lister alive, trying to make sure he's sane, that sort of thing. You've even got a hologram. You've got an evolved cat. You've got an android on there. You've got an AI computer that literally does everything around there, right? But yeah, it's a comedy, but it's really good. But yeah. I personally think they shouldn't take AI too far. They're literally taking it too far now, especially taking over people losing their job, people losing their livelihood. They shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, but again, this is corporate. This is capitalism. Because again, in order to produce, when you got movies that are costing $200, $300 million to produce, and these guys are saying, and they're not getting their bang for the buck, because we've seen, when was the last time we had a blockbuster?
Oh, jeez.
That did billions, in revenue. Very few of those. So I'm spending $300 million to create a film, and I'm only getting $200 million back at the box office because it flopped. A lot of these studios, again, it's still business is business at the end of the day. It's about, again, your revenues minus your expenses, it's your net profits, and that is what you live on.
That's what comes down to it in day, money in a day. I keep telling everybody I work with, we are a number. We're all expendable in some shape, way, or form. Even myself, as a cook, chef, dishwashers, all these guys are expendable. So they are looking at every, and the reason we're not getting blockbuster movies as much anymore, because people wait till it comes down to streaming now.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you spend 40, 50, 60 bucks if you can watch at home comfortably?
Well, yeah, I'm saying even then, like, and I don't know what the profit stream is if a movie comes out. Let's say if you create a movie, the next Avengers movie, and it goes straight to Netflix. I don't know what the compensation, what that's going to look like. I'm just saying, in general, though, it still costs a ton of money for these films to be made. You have to build sets. You have to build, again, train actors, set designs, set up rigs, explosions, live action effects, all that kind of stuff. If they can get to about 90% realism through CGI and AI, and again, you bring in a few artists to fine tune it to make it really realistic looking for the final cut of the film, then again, guys are going to do that. So again, I think AI, put it this way, Pete, I think chefs are probably in a much safer place than AI, than actors and artisans.
We are right now. I'll be honest with you, we are. Because fast food is different. Fast food is getting automated very soon.
Well, I'm saying you're a professional chef.
Yeah, we are not.
What's that?
Because we're not. Because I can't. It's different than telling me, "Hey, I want my steak a certain way," or your pasta, or make a recipe. You can only program so much, but you cannot program a AI robotic to taste the food.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying I'm making a point. I'm validating you. I'm saying
you guys are
a protected space still, more so than the actors and the writers and the Screen Actors Guild in those guys, because AI has found a way to replace a lot of that content visually, and even with the writing and the concepts and the ideas and the storytelling. That's a place that's being done. But again, in the culinary world, if you're talking about, real chefs making, not just baking bread, but making pastries and designs, and go to a bakery and seeing all the beautiful, the smell of the foods and all that kind of stuff, or a chef, your presentation. Yes, you made this dish, and the way it looks and the way it smells, and you present it to people. I don't think AI robots can get there yet. That might be 100 years away. I'm saying right now, within the next 10 or 15 years, a lot of these artisans, digital artists, again, back in the day when Star Wars was out, you had a lot of those scenes in Star Wars were matte paintings painted on glass by real deal artists. And we didn't know about that until we saw the behind the scenes, the making of Star Wars or whatever, to find out what was real and what wasn't. But when we watched it, it was real enough looking that it fooled us. Now AI can do that in minutes. So those guys are going to be in peril for some time. And it's, so really I do have concerns, certainly for the Screen Actors Guild, the artists, the writers, the voice actors, all those people in that space. It is a real concern.
All right, before you move on with that, I want to mention something you mentioned. Which one makes more money, movies in theaters or streaming? It's saying online right now, it's 50% makes in the theater when it's new release, but a long-term jeopardy of a film that makes money over time, 70 to 80% makes on streaming over long term.
Noted.
So, like for example, like 5 years from now, it could be making still 80% money on the movie because it still needs kicked back to the studios from the streaming companies.
Right.
That kind of makes sense, to be honest with you too.
Yeah.
So you're raising a lot of red flags today and a lot of good concerns on this, and you're 100% right. But when do we put a stop to people? I'm never a fan of people losing jobs because of some kind of digital thing. I'm a fan of using it to help my job. I'm cool with that, but not to the point like I might lose my job in the process.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable. I think just like every other industry has been affected by automation. Everything. And I think, like I said, one of the sacred cows used to be the arts. But the ones that are going to be left are, like I said, sports. And even then, I mean, jobs certainly within sports are being replaced, like data analytics and scouts and things like that. They're using AI to now be able to predict, based on the stats of the player, what their performance is, how much you should pay them, and all that kind of stuff. That's happening now. But the players you can't replace. The chefs you can't replace. Not the cooks, but the chefs you can't replace. But the artists, they're getting replaced.
I think also the artists who make paintings, drawings and stuff like that, who paint, are going to be replaced very soon too.
Yeah. Because again, you said, I want a night sky and I want this scene and whatnot. Boom, boom, boom. AI spits it out.
Tattoo artists, a good example too.
Now, that's an interesting area. And again, I know we're near the end of the show. Do you think you'll get to a point where a robot can, you say you want a tattoo, you sit there, there's this robot with a needle in his, and the robot does the do, and then there's your tattoo. You think that's coming in the next few years?
Yes.
So
I don't think
tattoo artists, you better get something else.
It's going to be in next 12 years. I think it'll be longer than that. If you ever see Starship Troopers in the first movie, he's literally sitting there and a laser arm is droning on him, and that's literally tattooing him.
Right. Well, it's almost like those 3D machines, right? Those 3D machines that are crafting stuff. I mean, again, you're going to be able to go into a chamber or whatever, and it's just going to go do this and next person,
Yeah, I think it's gonna get to the point like you can talk to like the AI example. Like I want, for example, what I'm gonna get. I want my dog that pass his paw prints with dog tag with a couple words I want to put in the end in there, and then they'll come out with 5-6 designs. Beep. And I'm like, please insert cash or please insert payment. Ding. Thank you. Please sit down. And then it comes in, shaves you because you have to get sterilized. Shh. Then please prepare. Zzz, and like it'll be a little less time than the tattoo artist because it takes time for these guys to do it.
Let me ask you, speaking about the dog as we go down the show, what do you think is going to come out first? To be able to clone your dog and have it have the same sort of attributes of personality as your existing dog, or the robot dog that I talked about earlier that's going to be able to mimic your dog in such detail that it's almost imperceptible?
They're both here already. You can clone animals, and you've got robot dogs. You've got them both already.
I don't know, but is that commercially viable?
No, cloning
cloning pets. I don't know if that's commercial. I'm not saying they haven't done it, but I'm just saying, but commercially viable. where it's like you can right now. So your pup that you just bought, so Apollo, right? Mm-hmm. You can actually get his DNA now and save it to a place. And 10, 15 years from now, when he goes to dog heaven, and you be like, here's his DNA, make me another Apollo. I don't think we're not near there yet. I mean, that's,
I don't think we're nowhere near there. I think we're so far away. It's not even funny.
So that's why I'm asking you. So what's more realistic?
They made a movie that what was that called? 7 Days with the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, it was called The Sixth Day.
Sixth Day. Thank you. So the Sixth Day. Yeah. I think it's a we're very far away from that. I don't think we're nowhere near that.
Like I said, I mean, but that's what human
AI
beings.
dog.
I'm saying, but I'm saying with dogs though, or animals in general, the you may get there first, and that's why I talked about even with the robot dog. I mean, if you get to a point where you got these robots that can mimic animal actions, and if you're able to program it to act and mimic and behave the way your dog did, based on the information that you feed it. So again, give them all the doggy videos of Alex or any dog that you put on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Let AI look at it and whatnot and says, okay, dog responds to these actions, these events and whatnot. We're going to program this into this robotic dog, and there it is.
It's only so much videos you can take, first of all, to what I'm saying, because he is 24/7 hours. You have to work on all that stuff. But let's say you're able to shoot a lot of videos. I don't think it's gonna come close to the real thing. Number one. Two, if my opinion to your question, which one things come first, AI or cloning? AI, I think we're already there. Yeah. I think that's going to be a very near future. That may be more possibility. Cloning. Now we're talking about very demonic and crazy shit that I don't.
Like I said, that's a future gray area or deeper conversation. We can get in on that. But certainly, certainly we're coming down to the end of the show. And so I want to thank us both, Craig and Sparta, for being a part of the conversation. Also, Eric has been very active in the chat as well. And certainly he has his views definitely very not for the AI, but it's here. And again, so like I said, in the arts and whatnot, we can go pick up something or whatever. More and more I go on and I hear something, hey, that was cool. Oh, that was AI generated. I'm like, I'm looking, my eyebrow goes up because, again, I'm just not used to this. And like I said, all these videos, like every day, I'm seeing more and more of, again, 2D cartoons and anime being brought into 3D life. I'm seeing these emotional videos with the flashbacks to people and fleshing them out and actors and persons. I mean, the videos that Sparta played about the Silverhawks and all that. I mean, those are things, they're filling a niche. And again, go watch some of these Star Wars stories. They're very creative and they give you that nostalgia of the old, but again, they're able to go into places that, again, current artists, because of time and resources and whatnot, have not been able to do. But AI is creating a lot of spaces. I know Mandrell, he sent me some links. There's got these Star Wars stories where they're like, stormtroopers in the desert and things of that nature and just different things.
But before we go, I got one quick question off topic.
Sure.
Because I know you probably see the trailer by now. And we had a show about, if He-Man became a live action movie again.
Right.
And I think they finally found the right actor for it. What's your opinion about the actor they used so far?
A little small.
I knew you were going to say that.
Again, I think that physicality. Again, I grew up in the area of Arnold and Sly and Carl Weathers and guys who looked the part. And a guy who, again, he may look like a He-Man when he was 13 years old. But again, you're gonna have to, he's gonna be doing these powerful feats. You're gonna have to sell me on that. But even the actors who play current superheroes now that are strong, like Superman, like Henry Cavill, or these guys, they went through these rigorous training programs to transform their bodies to look like they could be, could kick your butt on screen. I don't know who this guy is or how much training that he went into, but if he's supposed to be the strongest man in the universe, he should look like the strongest man in the universe. The same the way Rock, when he was early in his career, when he was getting up there, and even the last movie that he did, it didn't do as well. But again, he made a very believable fighter in that MMA movie that he just did.
The one he did with Hercules, he was the right size for Hercules. Actually,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you got or Jason, or like guys like Jason Momoa. I mean, guys who are large men. Period. But I know the screen tip has people looking larger than life on screen. I think you need to have that. Dolph Lundgren, I didn't like the original He-Man movie, but certainly Dolph Lundgren, no one's going to deny that he had the physicality to pull it off.
Nobody really likes that movie. It was a horrible.
Yeah, it was a horrible movie. But I'm just saying, but the physicality was there.
Yeah, but really fast. His name is Nicholas Gazelle. He's 31. He hasn't done a lot of work. His most of his movies are chick flicks, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
He came on the scene in 2014. Am I right here? Yes, 2014 was his first movie called the Beats in Myself. Like I said, he does a lot of chick flicks. This is his first action movie he's doing. From the videos from what I'm seeing online and chatter and rumors, he put a lot of training in. He put a lot of training this guy in.
We'll see, but most of these guys do. Even the original Superman, Christopher Reeve, he put on like 25 pounds.
From the pictures I see him playing He-Man, from what I've seen so far, he has something to say size on him, dude. Don't knock him yet, because don't forget, you're seeing small clips right now. Wait till you actually see the movie to make that judgment. You're showing clips here, and most of the clips you're seeing, he's clothed most of the times already. Mm-hmm. So they're not gonna, like the one I'm seeing right now. He seems like he has a decent size on him, to be honest with you. But I don't know if that's actual real footage or is it AI again. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem again. The problem we're having now.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing too. I mean, for these guys who had to spend all that time, like Craig mentioned earlier about guy played Captain America, right? They were able to shrink him down. Now, who's to say that they're not going to use CGI instead of spending 6 months in training, eating 5,000 calories a day, and doing all that work or whatnot? That what if they go the other way, and they can make anybody look like a Superman, a He-Man, or whatever in a realistic fashion and pull it off? How much time is going to be saved because the guy doesn't have to eat, dry chicken breasts and broccoli like Hugh Jackman used to talk about that all the time. Like he loved Wolverine, but he hated it at the same time because the work that he had to put in to look like that was just brutal. But what if you can fashion it through AI and CGI a look where it's the regular guy, but you put the amount of structure around him to make it believable.
Yeah. If you look at Wolverine and Deadpool, the ending scene where they're in the chamber for the time, the thing that removes time or whatever it is, or realities.
Right.
That was all done by AI or CGI.
So really fast, so Eric's comment. Yes, Eric is actually 95% right. Most of the scenes you see him, he's as Adam because he's trapped in our time and he's supposed to be going back to his world. That's from the trailer. Again, I might be completely wrong. I'm going off the trailer. There's one very small scene, him picking up the sword and calling in his powers, and that's all you see of him. His physique. Very small scene.
So it's almost gonna be like Smallville then. Remember at the end of Smallville, you didn't see him as Superman ever. Like that was his contract. He said he will never wear the Superman costume. But at the end of Smallville, he's on the roof. He takes his glasses off.
No. I know what you're saying. I'm trying to think of how to answer this question correctly. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen the movie yet. So I'm going off the trailer. I'm not even going off rumors, what people are saying, because you know how rumors are. That's another rabbit hole I don't want to go down to.
Right.
So except that, that's what I'm going to leave my answer to, because I don't want to put my foot in my own mouth for once, because this is way too soon. But what I will do, I'm going to see the person I know who knows a lot more behind the scenes than we do is our little buddy CQ. He may know a little inside stuff about it that I don't know, because he's connect like we know. Fair. But let's start closing out, Paul, because it's getting to the point.
Yeah, well, again, thank you again for the opportunity to explore this tonight. again, lots of excitement as well as fear with AI, where this can really go. It's the next evolution in CGI and what impact it's going to have on movie making. We're going to get some, again, exciting projects that I think we'll appreciate. But then we also have to worry about, again, where does this put the industry? And certainly those in Screen Actors Guild, you have every right to have concerns. If you're an artist of any stripe, if you're a musician of any stripe, you have concerns in terms of use of AI and its effect on your livelihood. And I think those are certainly very important points to raise. And I think if the studios, if they really want to mitigate a mass exit or future work delays in the future, I think, create a compensation structure that allows for artists to get paid, especially if you plan to replace or implement more AI at these people's expense. At least make some sort of compensation to them so they're not out in the cold. And I think that's fair. But again, unfortunately, corporate doesn't oftentimes work like that. It's a zero-sum game. It's all or nothing, and you have to force them sometimes, unfortunately, to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm excited about a lot of the content that's coming out. It's certainly given me a totally different perspective on what it can do, but it's not going away anytime soon. And certain industries where you depend, like I said, when you're a chef, Pete, I mean, that's a live performance. I talked about that earlier with the musicians or the DJs. When you're doing a live event, I don't think AI is going to do that. When you do your chef thing, that's a live performance.
Yeah, we are actually in a cafe. We actually cook right in front of the customers. It is a performance.
So AI can't replace that. So I think you guys are protected. But these industries, just like others, have been impacted by automation and advancement. I think the arts is not immune from that, and we're going to see more of it, not less, in the near future. But again, thanks for the opportunity tonight.
No, Paul, you're my VP. This is your platform as much as mine, and all the team. I keep telling everybody, again, guys, you don't know back to the scenes. Here's a little sneak peek. I don't do this by myself. I have a team behind me. I might be the CEO, like I put it here. He's my VP. So when I'm not around, he's in charge. So don't screw up. That means when I'm not around. But really fast, I want to say one more thing about the He-Man really fast. I want to get out of here. June 5th, 2026 is coming out. I will be attending that movie because I am looking forward to that. I am going to try open a weekend. Paul, do you want to go on a date with me and go see the movie together?
August? Yeah, we could probably shoot for June. If at worst, if we can't get together, then we can certainly shoot to see it within, so we can have a show to talk about it. So
yeah, just make sure you don't go home together.
Asshole.
Where's that sound? Now, see, now I'm saying you reached your limit on talking. We can play that way.
Okay.
We don't hear nothing.
Yeah, we didn't hear it.
But you gotta give me credit, Paul. I was really good with my language this week.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, but anyway, guys, this was a Spartan. I am the Spartan. He is the president, and my knucklehead friend from the UK. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.